Hi everyone, today's topic is about the Pomodoro technique. The what? You may be asking. Well, the Pomodoro technique is a time management tool that was developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s. You don't need to remember those details, but it is a way to help you manage your time well, not only with tasks related to potential work you may be doing, whether it's work outside the home or work inside the home, but also a time management tool that you can utilize with your family. So, personal tasks that you may have, family tasks that you may have, you can use this time management tool. So the Pomodoro technique teaches 6 objectives to really enhance the way you utilize the tool. So let me talk about those 6, and then I'll go into specifically how you utilize the Pomodoro technique. So the first objective is to learn how much effort it's going to take you to complete a specific task. So how many Pomodoros? In Pomodoro, the focus time is 25 minutes. So similar to the time inventory that I like to have moms complete when we look at changing your day-to-day, I want you to see how long and how much effort it takes you to complete a particular task. Maybe it's a task that you do on a daily basis. For instance, maybe at the end of your workday, you like to go through your email inbox. I want you to set a timer and see how long it takes you, let's say 3 days. 3 different days, I want you to time yourself and see how long it takes you to go through that email inbox at the end of the workday. Then you'll get an average of how much effort and how much time it takes you to complete that particular task. Let's say it's folding laundry. How long does it take you to fold a load of laundry? Now it's going to vary depending on what you're cleaning, but you can, just like with the emails, time yourself for during 3 different occasions on how long it takes you to fold that laundry. Maybe you just want to fold, maybe you want to put the clothes away. Maybe you want to do 2 different timers for that. It's really interesting to do an inventory of various activities, whether it's work related or home related, and see how long it takes you to give you an idea of how much time you'll need for that particular task. So the second objective is to work towards protecting that focus time. Whether it's internal distractions, what's going on in your mind, all those thoughts circling around, or external distractions like your phone buzzing every 5 minutes. The objective is to think proactively about how you can minimize distractions. Now, I know we're moms and life happens and there are emergencies and there are kids crying and various things that do require your immediate attention, but they don't always. So are there actions that you can take on the front end before you start that focus time to minimize unneeded distractions? For example, could you turn your phone on silent? Now, maybe you have it set up so that if it's an emergency and someone calls more than once, it's going to come through. Could you put the phone in the other room? Could you close out the browsers of social media when you want to focus on a particular task? Are there other things that you could do? Could you go work in a different room if you're working from home? These actions will be unique to your specific situation. So I want you to think through, what distractions do you regularly see when you're engaging in certain tasks? And what can you do before that focus time to minimize those distractions? Objective number 3 is to focus again on accurately estimating how many Pomodoro, so how many 25-minute focus sections does it take you for a certain activity? So in objective number 1, we inventoried how much time and effort it would take on particular tasks. So for this third objective, I want you to think about how many Pomodoros. So can you get X activity, fill in the blank, done within that 25-minute focus time? If not, do you need an additional 25 minutes? Or can you figure out a way to condense that activity into that Pomodoro? Can you become more efficient, is what I'm saying. Can you become more efficient with folding laundry? Is there a different way to fold that can decrease the amount of time that you're spending on that certain activity? If not, that's okay. Then say, I need more than that 25-minute focus time to complete this activity. But after that 25 minutes, I'm going to take a break, which I'll talk about when I actually go through the specifics of the technique. But this objective 3 is to learn accurately how much time it'll take you for a certain task, and then estimate how many Pomodoros, whether it's 1, 1.5, 2, maybe it's even 3. And do you want to break it up? For example, do you want to spend a focus time of 25 minutes on clearing out your email inbox and know that you're not going to get done, but not pick it right back up after that break time? Maybe you want to do it the next day. Maybe you don't want to fully complete a task back to back to back using the Pomodoro technique. Maybe you want to spread it out. Morning, evening, maybe you want to spread it out, beginning of the week, end of the week. It's up to you. But just estimating how many 25-minute increments you would need to complete a particular task, whether it's a work task or a home task. Now, the next objective, number 4, is to use some of the time during that 25 minutes, not every time, but sometimes, to recap, especially when it's work related and there are connected pieces of a particular project, for example. Can you recap on what you've already gotten done before you start that focused work time on that specific task? Can you take 3, maybe 4 minutes to recap, refresh yourself, and then spend, let's say, 18 or so minutes on that specific focus time, and then take a few minutes at the end of that 25-minute segment to review. So what did you get done? What do you still need to get done with that particular project or that particular activity? So it's the recap, the work, and then the review. Can you fit those 3 pieces within that 25-minute focus time? You're focusing just on the previous task and then what still needs to get done. So it's still part of that specific focus, but just giving yourself a little more context and a little bit of planning within that specific task. Now, objective number 5 is to set a timetable according to your activities and tasks to help you better organize your work or your home life and allow for more margin. So for example, after you've done the inventory of how long it typically takes you to do laundry, can you put that into a certain piece of your day or a certain piece of your week now that you know about how much time it takes you to do that? I'll talk in more detail in another series about time blocking, which I love doing, where you are batching particular tasks and blocking your time so that you use your time more wisely and that you're not going from here to there to here to there all over the place and end up wasting some time trying to transition. So can you think about how to structure your workday, for example, or your day at home based on the knowledge that you now have about how much time it takes you to do a particular task? And think about it in terms of the Pomodoro, in terms of the 25-minute segments. And the last objective is to discover your personal objective. So an objective that you come up with for utilizing the Pomodoro technique. Why do you want to utilize a technique to help you manage your time well? Do you want to use the Pomodoro technique to have more time in your day so that you're limiting distractions and you get done what you really need to get done so that you can have time for other priorities in your life? Are you tired of the chaos swirling in your head and not actually accomplishing things, even though you've sat at your computer desk for an hour? Do you want to give yourself some scheduled breaks so that you can take time to pause, regroup, refresh, and then come back ready for the next segment? Are you tired of staring at your computer, not getting enough accomplished that you want to, and then looking down and realizing it's been 4 hours since you've gotten out of the chair? It may be a personal objective for you to work fewer hours if it's work related and you work from home or you're an entrepreneur like me. Maybe you want to be more efficient, and maybe you want to challenge yourself to get certain tasks done within that focus time. And the more you focus on that particular task and eliminate distractions, the more efficient you are and the quicker you can get that done and move on. That is objective number 6. So it is an objective that you create. Now that we've gone over the 6 objectives that the Pomodoro technique teaches, I want to talk to you about how to actually use the technique. Step 1 is to choose one task from a list of priorities. Maybe it's one to-do list item. I like to focus on the big 3. So one of your top 3 priorities for the day. Maybe it's a priority for the week if it's a longer task. But pick one. So pick one task from your top priorities. I suggest picking a task that's both urgent and important to get done first. So once you pick that task, move on to step number 2. Step number 2 is to set a timer for 25 minutes. Now, before you set that timer, remember back to the objectives. Are there potential distractions that you can eliminate or at least reduce before you start that timer? The more distractions that you can eliminate, the more efficient and more productive you will be within that 25-minute time frame. Once you've eliminated potential distractions or at least reduce them, set that timer. So 25 minutes. For those 25 minutes, you are going to focus only on that particular task that you identified. And you're going to use that headspace to maybe recap work, and then review what you've done. But 25 minutes, you get to decide what one task you are going to focus on for that 25 minutes. And at the end of that 25 minutes, reflect a little bit. Did it take you longer than you anticipated? Do you still have more work to do on it? Were you way efficient and it took you less time than you anticipated? These are some things that you can jot down or take a mental note of. If it's a recurring task, if it's something that you do on a regular basis, you can apply the knowledge you learned from that 25 minutes for a task in the future. Now, step number 3 is to stop the timer, okay, after that work time, and take a break. So take a 5-minute break, which goes into step number 4. So step number 3 is the actual work time. So step number 1, pick this task. Step number 2, set the timer. Step number 3, work on that task, maybe recap, work, and then review. And step number 4 is to take a 5-minute break. Now, be intentional with this 5-minute break. So when you step up from your desk or you step away from the laundry or dishwasher or cleaning or decluttering, you take a break. And you're intentional with that break. Maybe you need to move your body. Maybe you want to take just a 5-minute walk down the street. Maybe you want to jump on a rebounder. We have a little trampoline in our house. Maybe you want to jump on that. Maybe you want to scroll social media. Maybe you want to read a book. Be intentional with those 5 minutes and make it detached from that particular task that you just did. So unplug for 5 minutes. Now, if you're like me, you've got other priorities that potentially could steal your time during those 5 minutes. That's where the power of time blocking comes in. So during those 5 minutes, maybe you're walking through the house and you see a pile of clothes that haven't been folded. And you're tempted to start folding them. But once you start folding them, you know you're going to be doing that task for more than 5 minutes. This is where I tell myself, there's a time for folding clothes and that time's not right now. This is my 5-minute break and I'm going to make the most of it and do something to unplug and do something that won't steal my attention for more than 5 minutes. So keep that in mind. Have a time for particular tasks and know that that 5-minute break is not for folding laundry. Maybe it is. You get to decide, but 5 minutes. After that 5 minutes is up, you're going to repeat the Pomodoro with a 25-minute work time. So set the timer again for 25 minutes with one task. When the timer goes off, you're going to take a 5-minute break again. You're going to repeat that process, and about every 4 cycles, you're going to take a longer break. So a 15 to 30-minute break after about 4 Pomodoro cycles. Okay, let me review. Step number 1, pick one task from your top priorities. Step number 2, work on that particular task for 25 minutes. So set a timer for 25 minutes. It's nice to have a visual timer. Maybe you have a kid timer that you can set on your desk or set wherever the activity will take place in. Step number 3 is to then engage in that particular task. So step number 2, set the 25 minutes. Step number 3, engage in that particular task. And when the timer goes off, step number 4, take a 5-minute break. And don't forget to take a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes after every 4 cycles. So what do you think about the Pomodoro technique? Do you need to tweak it a little bit to fit your schedule? That's okay. Nobody says you have to follow the Pomodoro technique, but maybe you want to follow something similar that works in the rhythm and the season of life that you're in. It's all about taking intentional breaks to remove yourself, to recharge and rejuvenate so that you're not staring and getting distracted, and it can improve your focus because you're focused on one thing and you're not sitting at your computer for 3 hours, forgetting to take a break to drink water or eat a snack. And you can break that up. So when you actually set a timer, it goes off and take a break. So I encourage you to implement this technique, inventory your time, and I hope that it improves your focus like it has for me, whether it's in your workday, whether it's in your home life, thinking about being more intentional with your time and not multitasking and not getting anything done. I don't know about you, but I've been the person who's trying to do 5 things at one time, and I don't get accomplished with any of those 5 things by the end of the day. So think about one task, dedicate 25 or so minutes to that task, and take a break and see if you get more done. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone.